Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is, wherever you at. Your never episode Conversations with Sir. Okay. So today we have Tracey joining us for a special conversation around family court. Now, family court can go a long way. Divorce, child support, of course. When everybody hear family court, think about child support, custody, and a few number of other things. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming on.
No problem.
At first, I was like, cool, I can do the interview. And I left it alone for like 3 days. And I was like, wait, I never even looked at her page and see what she did. And I look, oh, family court. Oh, let me mark this off, clear the whole calendar, because some of this stuff can be a trigger for me. So if I stop talking, then just, but thank you for coming on, because yes. So hope all is well with you.
Yes.
Hope everything is okay. Yeah, man. I'm just a little excited. I don't want to jump into the questions. I want to let you talk a little bit first before I jump into the questions, because I don't want to start going off the rails, because this train will hit gas and go right off. But introduce yourself to everybody, please.
Sure. I'm Tracey Bee. I'm the owner of the Divorce Solutionist. I am a former family law attorney. I'm a mediator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcaster myself, author, course creator. I'm a whole lot of things. But the one thing that I pride myself on, when it's time for me to leave this place, is doing something that makes an impact, that has an actual impact on humanity, on people overall. And I've been in family law for over 20 years now, and it's not the easiest field of law to be in, because every single issue you can think of comes up in family court. I mean, everything from, like you said, child support to sexual abuse and child abuse, and you name it, it runs the gamut. So it's not easy, but it's fulfilling for me, because I love to serve. I love to serve people. So what I decided to do 4 years ago is to take my legal background and make it into something that can help more people on a larger scale. So now I actually coach people who choose to or want to explore handling their family court case on their own. I teach them everything I know as a lawyer, everything I know from being in several courtrooms, everything I know that I learned as a mediator. And I actually teach people to use those skills on their own, so that they can actually get through their child support, divorce, and or custody case, without spending $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 on attorney's fees, only to get disappointed in the end. So that's who I am.
That's trigger number one. Because I tell you, they will run your pockets in there. They will run your pockets, boy.
Yes.
So, why did you get into family law?
That's a great question. Actually found me. I happen to have a background in mental health. But when I went to law school and I came out, I did criminal, I did personal injury, I did a few things, but I worked for other people. And when I decided to work for myself, I just put up a sign outside, and whatever came in my door, that's what I took. And it happened to primarily be family law. And I wind up sticking with it. I absolutely love it and hate it at the same time. So, and once I got into it and I realized that I can use my background in mental health in my legal profession at the same time, I actually decided to take it and run with it. So that's exactly what I did. That's how I got here where I am right now.
So, you know how they got a lot of careers you could get into, and they say, oh, you need to go to school, or you need a bachelor, or you need this, you need that. A lot of these careers you can get into technically with experience. So let's just say you've been in this field, or you've been in the custody court case, you've been in divorce, you've been this years and years and years and years and years. Do you feel like this one of these careers that experience is better than you going to school for this?
It's interesting, because I honestly do. When I started in family law, I was childless, I was single, and a lot of the things that people were telling me, I couldn't relate. So I was giving them theoretical advice, not practical. The moment that changed for me, I had my own son. I was engaged to my son's father, and we split up. Then it became real. So the way I started talking to people, it changed because now I can empathize. Now I can relate. Yes, school helped me because it helped me develop some analytical skills and all that stuff, but nothing prepared me like having the experience, the background from being in the predicament myself. I went to family court myself with my son's father. So yeah, nothing prepared me as much for doing what I do than going to court and actually having to deal with child support and child custody myself. So yeah, I agree. Yes, absolutely.
So he set himself up for failure because he went to court with somebody who already knew the game. And
yeah, but he was one of those people. He believed that he could outsmart everybody.
Yeah.
So he thought he was going to get in there and win. And I didn't have to say much. The judge looked at him like, "Are you stupid? You're coming in here again." Yeah, but he liked to play, on the edge. He definitely lived his life on the edge. So yeah.
I know he was. That's crazy. So I've actually been through the family court system twice. Once when I was a child, and once when I was an adult. But later on down the line, hopefully we can. I don't want to throw nobody under the bus, but I do want to dip and dab into it a little bit. So we get there. But a lot of the world changes fast. The law changes quick. There's no bulletin board that says, "Hey, these are all the changes." So how do you keep up with everything that is going on from? And I don't want to say, because I don't know how far you go. So it could be state to state, it could be county to county, it could be universal. You know what I mean? So how do you keep up with all the changes?
And I do work with I work with people all over the country now because my services are all virtual. But I keep up with, I join organizations, I follow certain legislatures, certain organizations on social media. I am always reading, I'm always watching videos, I'm always taking courses. It's just so, it is, and I'll never know everything, right? And sometimes I don't know it until somebody else brings it up to me, and then I explore it and research it on my own. But it's a myriad of things. I actually have to seek it out, but it's definitely something that I make an effort to do because it's important to me to stay abreast of the changes that affect my audience, my clients.
Mm-hmm. And is that so? Have you ever been in a situation when like you messed up and didn't catch something?
Oh yeah, of course. Recently somebody told me about a new law that had come into play in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know about it. I think it's Caitlin's law. It's something similar to that, and it has to do with the domestic violence in custody cases. And I had no clue. And one of my I don't know if it was a client or an audience member, but we were debating and she had to check me and tell me that, yeah, this is what happened. This is new. This has changed. So yeah, I had to go back, do some research. And I actually went live on my business page on Facebook to say that, yes, I was wrong. And this is what the actual correct law says, and this is what it means. And yes, she was right. So yeah, and I have no problem doing that because I want people to trust me. I want people to believe me and know that what I'm talking about is not always going to be correct, but I have no problem going to find it out and coming back and letting them know that, yeah, I did it. I took the time, I took the liberty to check myself too. So yeah, it happens.
So how did the feedback be once you say, "Hey, I messed up. This is the correct thing"? Did the feedback be good, or did you get the people be like, "I know she knew what she was talking about"? Like,
no, never, because I've been doing this so long, so that doesn't happen often where I mess up, right? So and not even just my audience, other professionals. When you talk to me, when you have a conversation with me, you get the sense that I know what I'm talking about, that I've been doing this for a long time, because I'm always enlightening people about something that they haven't even thought about in the field of family law. So, and that's everybody, that's across the board. So they don't say, "Oh, I knew you," and maybe they do behind my back, but no one has ever said to me, no one's ever said to me, "Hey, I knew you didn't know what you were talking about. You're a farce." I mean, they said other things, but not that. So.
Okay. I make mistakes all the time. I pronounce names wrong. I be rushing and I mess up somebody's spelling or something. Like, I do it. People call me out all the time. Listen, I make mistakes. If I can edit it, I'll go back and edit it. Hopefully it's not like a video and I messed the words up because then I gotta delete it. And if it's been up for more than like an hour, I'm not taking it down. I just messed up. I put in the comments, my bad. I messed this up. Like it is what it is. But yeah, my field and your field is two totally different things, because if I make a mistake, it's just sad. Some people probably, I knew what he was talking about, but like it's not going to be life changing if I make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, so it's definitely different. Your job has your career, your field has a lot of ups and downs. A lot. You got some highs and some lows. So, what is some of the most rewarding moments you've had?
I have quite a few. I love it when it doesn't. I always say to people, family court, you don't win in family court, right? Nobody wins. Everybody has to take an L or two along the way, even the kids, right? You don't win, but you can succeed. And you succeed how? You set a goal, you set a mission for yourself. You set your mind on accomplishing something specific in family court. And if you accomplish that one thing, then you succeeded. If you didn't win custody, if you didn't win child support, if you didn't win in a divorce, that's fine. But if you succeeded as a goal that you set, then that's fine. What I get a lot from working with people is they'll say to me, thank you. You helped me change my perspective, because yeah, you're right. I didn't win, but I accomplished something. I feel I regained my sense of hope. I regained my feel of confidence now, because you helped me see that just because it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted to, all is not lost. It's not the end of the world. There's always something else that you could do, or something else that can be done. There's always, a solution to everything. You may not like it, but eventually you'll grow to like it. And that's what I tell people. So I get that often where people email me or message me and say, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I didn't win, but I actually accomplished a goal. I feel like I got over a milestone working with you or talking to you. And that is the most rewarding part of what I do every single day.
Okay. So I went through the child support. Not child support. No, that's a lie. I went through custody, because it's two different things, but ours was the same. Now that I think about it, it was the same, I guess, kind of, sort of. I had to go through the first step to get to the second step. But I went through the custody maybe about 12 years ago, because my son's 14 now. And I went through it. And the process here in Maryland, you have to do 4 hours of mediation. 2 hours. Back then it was. I don't know what it is now. I don't plan on setting my foot in a courthouse. I don't want to, no way, shape, or form. I wanted to strangle somebody's neck, but 2 hours and 2 hours at $75 an hour. I'm like, what? To sit and talk to somebody? Like, this is crazy. So it got pushed back. Then it got pushed back. Then it got pushed back again. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So we had a day, and we had a court date set, because I got tired. Like, it cost $175 to file a paperwork. Well, it did. I'm sorry. Back then, again, it cost $175. Then you got to pay $75 for an hour. Then you go down there, and they keep getting pushed back. They keep getting pushed back, and like, you just dragging this along. So like, one day the judge called me on my phone, woke me up out of my sleep, and was like, "Hey, your hearing for tomorrow, I'm gonna have to postpone it." And I think she was asking me, do I agree with her decision? And I was like, no. Like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, she got to get one of the kids registered for school. And I'm like, yo, it was April. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I think it was like the beginning of the year. It wasn't like August and like the beginning of the year. Like, what are you talking about? That's not, don't get smart with me. I'm not getting smart. You just called me. Like, what do you mean I'm not getting smart with you? And she was like, well, my decision is final. And then she hung up, and like, I was like, yo, what in the world is going on here? I was so mad. I was walking around the house. I was just mad. And when I get mad, I start pacing around in circles. I was going. I could have probably started a fire the way I was walking. And it was crazy. It was going down there. Then we finally found, we had to go down there one day, and we finally found a mediator that didn't charge. They had some free sessions or something. Mm-hmm. So we finally sat down and talked to somebody. And it was not like, yeah, we didn't like each other. this is being recorded, so I'm not going to say what I want to say. But yeah, we didn't really like each other too much at that moment. But we had conversations. We wasn't I want to kill you. No, we didn't say none of that. It was just we wasn't on the same page. It was a lot of stuff done behind closed doors that it wasn't in the interest of the child. So I didn't bring it up in the courtroom, but we just did. We finally sat down with the mediator and went through all that stuff. That was a long list of things that you have to go through, by things like school and religion and after school and clothing and who does that. That is a long list of stuff to go through. So now I understand why it was 4 hours you had to do, because that was a lot. But if you don't come up with a solution, then all the paperwork that the notes and stuff they had, it go to the judge and they make a decision. And I'm like, nobody really wants that. You know what I mean? So we sat down and we finally did come up with a decision. I think that was like beginning of January we did. So I was like, so what about child support? That gonna stop? It was like, it's gonna take a while for that to stop. So I was like, cool. So I think it was like 3 months. So they stopped it. Then like, it'll be another month for your money to come back to you from January for it to come back. So I get down there. Then they sent me half my money. And I'm like, where's the rest of it? And they was like, but come to find out, they sent it to her a month before I even got mine. They sent her half my money. That's my money. That's not her money. That's my money. So I had to go file another 175. Go back down there. And they was like, she said, oh, we all make mistakes. I don't care about none of that. We all make mistakes. And she said, well, she don't have no job. How's she going to pay it back? I don't care. If I ain't have a job, I had to pay y'all back. Y'all don't care how y'all get it. She said, well, y'all, you made mistakes. She made mistakes. I made mistakes. So I'm not going to order her to pay it back. What? She said, if you don't like my decision, you can go pay the 175 and file an appeal. Yo, I walked out that courtroom and I never came back. Like even to our agreement, like we didn't stick to the agreement we had. I never went back down there. People were like, oh, you gotta go down there. You can get full custody. I'm not going back down there. It has to be a life or death situation for me to step my foot back in that courtroom. Yep. Now, I had friends that I talked to that needed to go down there, and I tried to tell them, I will go down there with you. I will help you. I will go down there. I will give you as much information as I can. But they didn't. Some people don't really want to deal with that. You know what I mean? So they don't want to deal with that. But and I tell you, I am not going back down that courthouse. It has to be a life or death situation that I can't deal with, because I will not. I'm not.
I get that a lot. Yep, I get that a lot. Especially dads, because that whole child support scenario you just mentioned happens quite often. It happened to my partner recently. They did the same thing. He didn't overpay. They took extra and gave him back what they wanted to give him back. They didn't even give him back all his money. And I told them before, I said, they're not going to give you that money back. Oh, yes, they are. They told me they will. I said, no, they're not. Because believe it or not, child support, the state agencies make money off of child support. So the more money they collect from you, the better it is for them. They're not in the business of giving money back. They're in the business of taking money that they're not supposed to be taking, and they will not give it back unless you start a whole new case, which takes money to do. So it's kind of like, counterproductive to do that. So yeah, so I'm not surprised that happens. And I hear often, especially dads, I have no business stepping into family court unless somebody drags me there. I'm not going. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm a straight shooter. I'm a native New Yorker. We're straight shooters. We tell it like it is. We don't sugarcoat. And yes, it is not your friend. That is not an environment that you should want to voluntarily just stroll up in trying to get some sort of justice or some fairness. Just because, no, that's not the place. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I used to fuss about. I think mine was like $528 a month or somewhere around there. Maybe every 2 weeks. I'm not 100% sure. It was somewhere around that, and we had to do that parenting class. And I was in there with all the guys, and somebody was like, "Yeah, I paid $2,000 a month. Yeah, I paid $1,500 a month." And I was like, "Shit, let me shut the fuck up, my goddamn fire. Let me go sit in this corner." Like y'all, they is killing y'all out here.
Yep. I represented dads who paid. I represented dads who paid 3 times that amount, like $3,000 and up. And I had one tell me, I'm going back to my country. I'm not paying this. I am going back. And he literally went back to Jamaica. And yeah, and that was the end of that. No more
That's
support.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I know I was doing Lyft. I do ride share, so I drive for Lyft. And I know a few years back, this dude was in there. He was talking about child support. And I was like, I don't know how the conversation got started. I just know that he said they took his license for child support. They try to charge him an outrageous amount. He just not going to drive no more. He said he just not going to drive no more. He ain't worried about that license.
Yep.
But I also realized that child support is not going to keep bugging you unless the other parent bugs them.
Well, it depends. Some states are very proactive with that. New Jersey used to be one of them. New Jersey used to be the ones that will go looking for you, and they would lock you up. They would do all of those things. Lately, they haven't been as proactive. There's a lot of states, though, who will. They won't. It's not the moms. They will do it for the moms, and then you don't even have to go to court. The moms doesn't even have to initiate anything. Some states, they will do it for them. So yeah, there's some states who are really laid back and lackadaisical about that, but there's some states who, because again, it's a moneymaker for them. They're making money. The more they collect, the federal government gives them money to encourage them to collect money. So for them, it's like, hey, that's another revenue stream. So yeah, there's some states who actually have a team, a department, a whole unit that's what they do. They go and look for child support obligators to pay. Yep, absolutely. So thank goodness. I've had clients arrested, license suspended, passport denied, accounts frozen. I've had you name it, I had it. And no matter me being there, the best I could do for them, representing them, was to get the judge to release them if they came up with half the money. Sometimes maybe 30 or 40%. But if they owe $20,000 and they're in jail for that, sorry, you're gonna sit there until you figure out how to get at least half that money.
That's what I'm saying. Like that don't make sense. Like, how am I get $10,000 and I'm in jail? Like that is crazy. Ain't nobody in my family giving me the $10,000 for me to get out of jail because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do from the beginning.
Exactly. Even suspending licenses, especially because, like you said, a lot of gig workers, they need their license. That's what a lot of those gigs entail, you driving. And so how much sense does it make to suspend somebody's license when they can't make a living now because they're in arrears for child support? And like, it doesn't make any sense. But you know what? It's just a mechanism to use. It's like, modern day slavery, really. It's like a cycle, a vicious cycle that you're caught up in. I always encourage people to try to work child support out on their own, men and women. I try to encourage them, hey, try to leave the government out of it because it's a rabbit hole for one. And it just wreaks havoc on your life because sometimes it spills over into your relationship with your kids. And it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Even my son's dad and he passed away. But, when we did child support, when I was pregnant, I told him I never want to go to child support. I never want to do that. But he pushed me and pushed me and pushed me and played all in my face the whole time. And I said, you know what? I'm done. Now we're going to child support. I gave you every opportunity. But you know what? And he had to face it. He went through all the same things that a lot of other people went through, But it is what it is. I get it. It's a personal choice. But I do encourage people, if you can resolve child support on your own, get to that position where you can work something out, maybe negotiate, you give up something and the other person gives up something. Because sometimes people will say, hey, will you let me move out of the state of New Jersey to go to Texas? And dad says, no, I don't want you to go. And mom will say, okay, well, I'll reduce child support in writing. We'll put it in the child support office so that they can't come after you. You know what I'm saying? Negotiate, figure out a way. But if you can avoid child support court at all costs, do that. Absolutely.
So you just said something because I told my sister I was interviewing you and she sent me like 3 questions. I told her we ain't about to keep doing this, but she sent it. So another thing, 2 things to what you just said. One, people don't realize you can't move out of state without both parties' consent. You can't just pick up and leave.
I'm
like, don't take my child nowhere. Like we had them conversations and my child mother, she wanted to move to Pennsylvania. I don't have a problem with you moving to Pennsylvania. I don't have a problem with you moving. You want to go? Be my guest. Just know that no, he's not going. You're not going. Like, no, you're going there. Oh, it ain't that far. I know it ain't that far. It's just I'm not doing all that.
That's it.
I'm not doing all that. But a lot of people don't realize that you can't just pick up and leave. Like, you can't just pick up and leave.
I want to say this. I'm glad you brought this up, because this is the thing. A lot of women believe, I'm not going to put dad's name on the birth certificate. That way he cannot interfere. He cannot stop me from doing whatever I want to do with our child. That is not the case. You cannot use the fact that he's not legal on the birth certificate as a reason, because, and I tell you, some states are no joke when it comes to that. New Jersey is one of them. If dad is not on the birth certificate, all dad has to do is establish paternity. All he has to do is go to court, start the proceeding to make sure he's put on the birth certificate, he's acknowledged as the father, and put in a petition that you're trying to move out of state. Guess what? You can go wherever you want to go, but the judge is going to make you meet that kid right here in the state of New Jersey. And there's some states who are, that's all it takes. So a lot of moms will say, well, he can't stop me because he's not, legally he's not the dad. Well, guess what? It only takes 2 court appearances to change that. Sorry. Or he can't stop me because he hasn't been in the child's life. Well, the judge is going to determine that, my love. Or he can't stop me because I'm only going to the place that we met at. We used to live in that state. We relocated together. Now I want to go back to that state. Sorry, that's not how it works. You absolutely need the father's consent or a court order telling you that you can relocate, especially in some states where they have certain limits. Some places will give you 50 miles. You could go 50 miles outside of where you're currently living, even if it crosses state lines. Okay, that's fine. Some places have 100 miles, but for the most part, you can't relocate across the country if you know that dad is part of the child's life or can be identified, and you don't get their consent or you don't get a court order to do that. It just doesn't happen. And people do that. I've seen people do it anyway. And I had one mom 2 years ago call me crying. Oh, I relocated to California from New Jersey. I went to court today and the judge told me I better bring our kids back to New Jersey by Monday morning. And she wants them in court by Monday morning. And I said, okay, well, why did you leave? Because he wasn't coming to see the kids often. And I didn't think, well, you shouldn't have left. The judge told her, nope, you had no business moving. Bring those kids back. I don't care what you do, but you're bringing those kids back. So she called me expecting me to bail her out of this. How do I avoid bringing them back to court on Monday? I said, you can't. That's a court order. You have to bring them back.
So I thought it was like, that was my next question. What happens if they do? So I thought let's say that I take our kid, boom, and go to California and move and the judge give you a week or 2 weeks to bring the kids back. No, they don't give you that much time. You got to just.
It depends. Some judges are sympathetic. They'll say, okay, I know you have a life there. You've been there for a while. You have a job, you have a spouse, you have other kids. And that was her situation. But and so sometimes they'll say, so if you ask them, say like for instance, in her situation, she could have said, Judge, Monday's not feasible. Can I do it? Can you give me 2 weeks? Which she did ask for. The judge was just so livid at her, was so mad. The judge said, no, you're bringing those kids back on Monday. And so now when she got to court on Monday, I haven't spoken to her after that. The judge could have said, okay, now that the kids are here, you can arrange to bring them back to California, but you have to bring them back to Jersey back and forth. Sometimes they do that. It depends on your circumstances.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. It depends on your judge. It depends exactly. It depends on your resources. It depends on a lot of things. So, but if you ignore a court order and you decide, I don't care, because I've had somebody from New York call me and say, hey, the New York judge told me to bring my kid back from Florida. I'm not doing it. I said, okay, I hear you. I'm not in the business of telling you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what the consequences are. They can send somebody come and lock your behind up for contempt. They can send a sheriff to your house and have you locked up, and she was crying too on the phone. Well, I don't believe that they're making me bring well, why did you leave without the court's permission in the first place? There's a dad involved. Like, you can't walk around here thinking that you created this kid on your own. there's a dad involved. I would never. And, even when my son's dad and I didn't get along and he moved back to Florida, I'm never going to tell you, you know what? I'm not letting you see your kid because you're in Florida. We're going to bring the kid to Florida to hang out with you and see you because you're his dad. Never mind what goes on between you and I, you're his dad. So it's the same thing, but in reverse. You can't just pick up and leave because you are angry he did this or things are not going that your way. Or he doesn't see the child as much as you think. No, not in this country. The dads have rights, just like moms have rights. You're both parents. So
yeah, one of the real things I realized is, well, I don't know how it is now, but I know when I started, like I called a few people and everybody was like, I really don't know. I've never been through the custody before. Like I don't know. And a lot of people don't know. And men don't know a lot of the rights that they have. And I was one of them people. I didn't know that you got the same say so she got. I just thought because she was the mother, then she make all the rules, and grand to find out that she didn't. And I think that's when our relationship really changed because I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then it was just like, once you know better, you do better.
Absolutely.
And not being rude or disrespectful, but no, that's not how this is going to go. You know what I mean? Like, no, we got to do it a different way. So I'm just so glad. Like me and my child's mother, we talk all the time, and it was like, I'm so glad we're not where we used to be. Like now we be on Instagram sending reels back and forth, like laughing at certain things, talking about the kids and like cracking jokes and stuff. Before, nah.
Yeah,
the only crack we was doing was a hammer beside your head. Like that was the only crack we was doing. But I
hear that often. I hear that often.
Yeah.
And I am a fan of co-parenting. People who can co-parent civilly. You don't have to be the best of friends doing things together when you're not a couple anymore, but at least be civil because we want to break the cycle, right? We have kids watching everything we do. We have our boys watching our fathers, seeing how to be a man, and we have our girls watching mothers, seeing how to be a woman and seeing how we should be treated. And so we have to keep that in mind. Even when we, things didn't go the way we wanted to, and we can't stand each other, we still have to be mindful that these kids are watching us. They're mimicking us. What do you think they're learning how they're going to be as partners and girlfriends and husbands and wives? They're learning from us. So we have to keep that in mind.
Definitely. So, I don't want to drain this topic because I promise you, like child support could be a draining topic. So let's switch a little bit. So let's go to divorce. Is it true that cheating is no longer a reason to get a divorce, or they look at it as this is no longer a reason to get a divorce? People do this shit all the time. Like y'all didn't try to work it out.
Yes. It's still a ground. It's just, it's not used often because, and this is what I tell people, because I have especially, and I hate to sound like I'm, targeting women because, I am not pro mom. I'm not pro dad. I'm pro kid. But I have a lot of women who will come to me and say, hey, he cheated and I want to file for divorce and I want to use the basis of, I want to use adultery. I mean, I recently worked with somebody last year who wanted to take her case to trial on adultery. And I said, number one, it doesn't matter. The judges don't really care that that's why you're getting a divorce. It used to matter years ago when no fault wasn't as rampant as it is right now. Every state has a no fault grounds for divorce. So you don't really need adultery, number one. Number two, adultery used to be used as a factor, and some states it still is, to determine how the property is going to be split up, whether or not you should get alimony or spousal support. So it matters there. But because it takes so much time and effort and resources to actually prove divorce and to actually go to trial on divorce, most people, most lawyers really, and most judges do not encourage filing a divorce on the grounds of adultery. So
if y'all not on the same page anymore, that's fine. So I've never been through divorce, so I can't really speak from experience. I don't know how that goes. From what I've read, you have to be separated for 6 months. I think in Maryland, you got to be separated for 6, because it used to be a year, but then I think they knocked it down to 6 months, unless like you're in danger or something like that. So that's all I really know. I know that everybody always say, "Oh, I'm gonna take half." That's not always the case. It's not always that black or white. I do know that. Even if you don't have money, like you still have to. Somebody gotta pay. What is it called? Alimony. I think that's what it's called. Somebody has to pay. I don't know how that even works out. I don't know how they determine that. So I don't know, because I know somebody got divorced before, and I think they said he had to pay $2,500, but the other person wanted it in parts. They didn't want it all at once. I don't. It was crazy, but yeah, I don't know how the divorce court works.
So alimony is something that still happens. Yes, people are still getting alimony in 2025, and rightly so in some situations. If you've been married 30, 35, 40 years, and when you got married, both of y'all were broke as hell, and now you're doing well, you accumulated, or the other one party accumulated, hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets and financial gain, then yes. If you acquired that during your marriage, then yes, not only may you get half of whatever that is, but you might be justifiably granted alimony and spousal support, because it's the intention is to actually help you maintain somewhat of the same standard of living that you happen to have when you were married. So, but alimony varies from state to state. Some states use a calculation. They have an actual statutory set of calculations that they do, and in some states just use criteria. They just go in and decide. The judge usually decides based on different factors whether or not they determine how long, they determine how much, and they determine who should actually be the one to pay. So yeah, it still happens.
I be saying the social media rants from the celebrities, and they got to pay $30,000 to $40,000 a month. That is outrageous. And people be like, "Oh, that's not enough." Where? In what lifetime? Is it a month? A month?
Yeah. Sometimes it's ridiculous.
And a lot of times twice a month.
Exactly.
Twice a year.
Twice a year. That's some people's what they get in alimony. Some people's salary for the whole year. Absolutely. But that's what it is too. They maintain a standard of living, and they acquired a standard of living, or they got used to a standard of living. And the judge says, you know what, you're entitled to maintain that once you're divorced. So we're going to make the other party pay you $30,000 a month because, he makes $10 million or she makes $10 million a month. So yeah. But a lot of times when you hear that, it's not forever. Someone asked me that recently. Is alimony forever? It's in a lot of states, it's rarely forever. There's just a small percentage of cases where alimony is forever. It's usually for a set period of time, and that's it.
Divorce is not an easy process.
Not at all.
It brings out the worst of people.
Yes.
As well as child support.
Yes.
It brings out the worst of people, and people do use the kids as tools and pawns, and that should be the worst thing ever. Like that'd be the worst thing ever. But if you don't know, you can't. I don't want to say fight against it, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing. But if you don't know what you're getting into or what you're walking into, then you will be not even a victim. That's not even like the word I want to use, because it's not a victim.
You'll be a target. You'll be a target.
Yeah, a target. Yeah, because like if you can't move on what you don't know.
Absolutely.
You're just jumping out there. So you really have to educate yourself.
And that's why I do this, because I really want people to be informed. There's so much information out there now. There's no reason, no excuse why you can't find what you need. I mean, you could go on social media and find other people going through the same thing. There's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's TikTok. It's all over the place. And it's unbelievable how people still come to me with such misinformation, because they're getting information from the wrong sources. You got to be mindful of the sources you're getting the information from. It has to be reliable, I mean, some people will argue me down too, like you mentioned about my son's dad. People do that every day. They'll argue me down about the law and about the rules. And I'm like, sweetie, I've been doing this too long. I'm not going to debate you. I know what I'm talking about. Some things I know for a fact. And they'll debate me, especially people who think they know all about child support or all about custody. Oh my goodness, they want to debate me like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about? Okay, go for it, baby. Go off, do your thing. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not getting paid for this argument. So
not at all.
This one.
Not at all. So another question about tax time. And who get the claim? Like, I know. So it was the post going around that Trump said, I'm so sick of talking about Trump. Whoever as paying child support gets to claim the kid. But I seen the one post, but when I Googled it, I didn't see no concrete information explaining it.
Yep.
So I was like, I don't know. Like, because that if I pay child support for 3 months, do I get to claim the kid on my taxes? You know, or do you got to pay the whole 12 months? Or do you have to been paying for 5 years? Like how does this work? Like, it's a lot that go into that. You know what I mean? A lot of determined factors. And you can't say, I pay $50 a week, so I'm gonna go ahead and claim and get the whole $2,500. You know what I mean? But I think this is
my partner. He came to me last week and said, "Oh, I heard Trump said," and I said, "Sweetie, that's not true." And I didn't even look it up. Before I could even look it up, I said to him, "That's not true." And then because anytime somebody says something to me, I always look it up to make sure I'm on track. And I looked it up, and like you, I found nothing to that effect. But if you're paying child support, you can ask the court to put in the order that you are to either alternate years, or if there's more than one kid, you get one kid, the other person gets one kid, or 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, or however it goes. But it's not automatic. You have to ask. I mean, including my partner, I said the same thing to him because he was ordered to pay so much. I said, you should have had the judge issue an order, including the order that you are to claim at least one of your kids on alternate years. And he said, well, I didn't think to do that, and it was too late. So, but yeah, because judges do that. They will do that. Again, now it's a whole separate issue with the IRS, because the IRS has its own set of rules when it comes to that. But there's a way, but there's a way that the IRS is not going to give you any pushback if both parties agreement that this is what the order says and this is what we're going to do. The IRS will not really give you a lot of pushback. People will say that, but it's not true. The IRS will actually just go along with whatever the two of you agree to, and that's it.
So what about the 6 months and the 6 months? If you have joint custody,
you should include that in the order. The judge should say that, because if there's no court order, there's nothing making either party do it.
So it got to be on paper.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be in the court order. Absolutely.
So it can't just be, hey, I'm gonna file 6 months this year. You file for 6 months and I file for this, or hey, I got them this year, you got them this year.
You can do that. Guess what happens? Say you do that, no court order, and you decide to do that, and she says, well, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. She contacts the IRS. Guess what happens? The IRS does an investigation, makes you pay the money back. Why do that? Just get a court order, or you both contact the IRS together, letting the IRS know that this is what you decided to do. Because if you do that just on a verbal agreement, the other parent can just go behind your back and still contact the IRS and let them know that what you did was fraudulent, because it is fraud if you didn't agree to it.
You can get in trouble so many different ways and you don't even know it.
Yep.
That is crazy.
You can actually do an agreement, because everybody thinks like I don't want to go back to court. So how would I do that in court if I don't want to go back to court? Well, you could do an agreement and submit it to the court for the judge to sign it. You don't have to literally go to court. Some places will allow you to just submit a petition, submit the written agreement with the petition, have the judge sign it. That's it. Some places you never have to see the judge when you do that. So that's an option.
Yeah. I didn't know that you ain't had to go down there. I didn't know you had to do that part. But I know that the filing and the child support stuff can get a little iffy. Like I recently found out that if the kid is still in school, you have to pay child support up until they're 23. I think that's what it said. 23.
Every state is different. In the state of New Jersey, it's if the child is in college, you have to pay until they're 23. In New York, you have to actually include that in the order. It's not automatic. So some states it's automatic, some states it's not. Some states you have to actually go back and seek an application. When in divorce decrees, though, in divorce settlements, we as lawyers, we usually add that in there. But when the party's never been married, you actually have to ask the judge to include that in the order in some states.
Yeah. That's why it'd be a lot of information out there, and you could find yourself in a trick bag, thinking that you knew what you was talking about, and turn around, they tap you on your shoulder, hey,
exactly,
you messed up here.
Yep, Exactly. And men think differently than women. Women will do the legwork. They will do, sometimes it's not that they don't know that they're wrong. They just know you. So they know what they can get over on you. So they'll continue to do that because you allow them to do that. That's how a lot of women think. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that that's how women think, because myself included. But men, I noticed from working with men and women in this field for 20 plus years, as men are different. Men are not going through that. They just want to keep the peace, and they just want to, get through this thing and move on. So, and because of that, a lot of times women will actually use that. They will manipulate the situation because of that. So.
That's why people was like, you gotta watch who you mess around with. Watch who you be sleeping, watch who you be having babies with, watch who you be having kids with, watch who you married with. But at the same time, like people said before, like I think Ocho Cinco said it one day, like when you first meet somebody, you meet a representative of them.
That's right.
And then down the line is when you finally meet the person you thought you was getting involved with. But that's why they say you got to be together for all 4 seasons. You know what I mean? The joy, the pain, the tears. But I mean, nowadays, everything the world moves so fast now. Like, and that's part of the problem. Like, everything is instant. We get instant likes on Instagram. We get microwave instant food. You know what I mean? DoorDash, you put an order in, they come instantly. Everything is quick. Everything is so quick now. So people don't have patience.
That's exactly what it is.
Don't have patience.
That's exactly what it is. That's why that's where I get a lot of pushback from when you asked me earlier, is a lot of people don't want to work with me because they don't believe that they should, they hear other people granting them instant results. And I'm not that kind of person. When I work with people, I want them to be able to develop skills and knowledge so that if in the event they have to go back to family court, whether it be with this other partner or a new partner, in the event that they do, they'll learn some things from me that's going to carry them out for the duration. So, and a lot of people with this instant gratification mindset, they don't have time for that. They want you to give them black and white answers, instant results. And I'm not doing that. That's not me. And it's gotten to the point recently where I decided that I'm not going to work with certain people who come to me with that mindset. I don't need the aggravation. I don't need the headache. I don't need that. So if you're not understanding where I'm coming from or what we're setting out to do together, then it's okay. Take your money somewhere else, because I don't need, I'm too seasoned to think that all money is good money. I know better. All money is not good money.
Facts.
I don't need the headache. I don't need the headache.
Facts. That is facts. That is facts. That is facts. Maybe you was younger first starting out. You'd be like, oh, I can deal with that. And then you get in there and be like, oh my God, why? But no, man. Like I'm telling you. Like,
nope. Been there, done that.
Listen.
Got the t-shirt.
So I know in the school system, if the mother don't pick the father on the list to like pick the kid up, or not the mother, the first parent don't pick the second parent on the list for like to pick up the kid or emergency contact, like and the people show up to the school to come pick their kid up. Sometimes they don't let them go. The doctor's appointments, you know what I mean? Like you got to pick the name to release the information. And it's a lot of stuff that can go left, that can really trigger people. And even to like communication, like certain ways you communicate. Yes. I know people who only communicate to me through email and they still call. You know what I mean? And that's like a trigger. Like a lot of people try to get in your head and try to mess with you. But like, I think that's more of a mental battle. And I've been there. I've been there. I've definitely been there. But can some of that stuff be used against you when you go to the custody courts or the
Yeah, because some judges are really not a fan of that. Those are early signs of parental alienation. Those are all parental alienation tactics that start really small and they actually snowball. So you being the identified father and you're not listed on the emergency contact, some people will put their new significant other as the other party to contact in emergencies, and you take that to a judge and let a judge know that this was done deliberately with malicious intent. A lot of judges will admonish the parent who did that about that. Now, the thing is, the judge is not going to admonish the school because the judge doesn't have any jurisdiction over the school. The judge can't call the school and say, hey, listen, you're not supposed to do that. But as the other parent, you have rights to actually go to the school and say, listen, I have a court order now that says that I'm supposed to be the only person listed as the other parent as the emergency contact. And then if they don't comply once you show them a court order saying that, then you go up the chain. You have to deal with the school. You go up to the chancellor of the school or the superintendent if necessary, because they do have a protocol that you're supposed to adhere to. But yeah, those things like that, you bring it to the court's attention. It depends, how severe it is or how often it is or the background of your case and a whole lot of factors. Family court is not a one size fits all. Every single case is different. Every single case. I don't care how much you think your case is like your boys down the street or your coworker. Your judge is different. The courtroom personnel is different. The key players are different. Everything is different. Every single case is handled differently. So if you think that's an issue for you that you don't really like, you bring it to the court's attention in a way that the court cares about it. You don't go in there saying that, oh, I have an issue with this because I'm dad and this is what she's doing and it's pissing me off. You go in there and you listen to the judge's way of looking at things and you speak the judge's language. That's how you get the judge to care about what it is you care about. And that's one of those instances, because I see that a lot too, where the parent will take the kid to the doctor without the other parent's permission or the other parent being informed about doctors, or they'll cut the hair, get the ears pierced, get tattoos, things that they know the other parent is not cool with. They'll do it anyway. But yeah, those are all signs of alienation, very preliminary signs of alienation. And again, sometimes the judge gets to the point where, listen, we're not going to do this. Some judges will be like, oh, it's not a big deal. But some judges, again, there's a way you have to speak the language to the court to make the court care and make it their business. So, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. I seen it on social media. So hypothetical question.
Okay.
We got a custody agreement that I get my son haircut. That's the SNL agreement. When we went through that whole mediation, we went through that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get off that weekend to get the haircut when she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Or I didn't have the time. Mm-hmm. So she got her significant other to go get the haircut. Is that a violation?
It's not a violation.
Or should we just brush it off?
I wouldn't brush it off. I wouldn't bring it. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't run back to court and say, hey, this is what happened. Because the court is going to be like, all right, well, it's done. We can't unring a bell. What I would do is show a pattern of her doing things like this. Because again, that's a sign of alienation. Alienation is when one parent turns the child off to the other parent. They start to plant little seeds to make the kid not want to go with dad or mom, or not want to see them, not want to call them, not want to video chat with them. They do little things like that. So now her significant other took your child to get a haircut. So now they bonded. They had a chance to bond. He might have stopped and got him something to eat, his favorite food, or he might have let him do something that dad wouldn't let him do. And so you see where this is going. So now they're in a position where she's establishing that bond and really pushing that on the kid, so that now the kid looks at the new significant other and looks at you, and sometimes it's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to go with dad anymore because it's more fun going with mom's new boyfriend. That's alienation. And that's how it usually starts. And so what I always suggest people is to nip that in the bud before it gets worse, because a lot of times it does get worse, where the kid just does not want to talk to you, see you, calls you names, just hate you for no reason, because mom or somebody manipulated their brain to think that you're the worst person on the earth. And that is not their own thought. That's something that they've been planting in their head from, whenever they decided to start doing that. So, yeah.
So second one, these videos of these people that are always posting how they bring food for their kid or clothes for their kid, and they were like, oh, you didn't bring something for everybody. I can't even ask how you feel about those, because sometimes to be wild. Like that's not our responsibility. You know what I mean? But
because it isn't. I mean, and there's a difference between what's morally wrong and what's legal or unlawful. And I just had this conversation with my partner too. And I said to him, you pay child support. do you understand that when her birthday comes or Christmas comes, that you're not obligated to give her extra gifts? And he's like, really? I'm like, if you ask a judge, the judge is going to say child support is supposed to cover that. But when you ask a mom, the mom was like, well, why wouldn't he buy her extra gifts for her birthday or Christmas? I'm not saying morally he should do that. I'm saying legally he doesn't have to. So for me, from a legal standpoint, no, that's not his kids. He don't have to bring food to the house for all the kids in the house. Now, me as a mom and a person, my mom raised me to never do that. You never bring, my mom raised us that way. If there's 5 kids in the house, you don't bring one kid stuff when there's 4 other kids. And I'm like that. I would never do that. If I only had enough to get one kid, I'm going to pull the kid aside and not let the other 4 kids know that this one kid had that. So by the time the other 4 kids find out, I'm gone. So I'm not the bad person anymore. You know what I'm saying? But my mother raised us. If you don't have enough for 5 kids, then you either buy something cheaper or you get them something. So you get a meal for the one and you may get a soda for the other 4. That's how I was raised. But it's no right or wrong to me. I don't think people should be feeling like, and that's what I hate about social media. People are constantly judging other people about what they do. That gets on my nerves. Like, shut the F up. You know, you don't know that person's circumstances or background. You don't know. You're just seeing a 5-minute clip, a 5-second clip, and all of a sudden you know all the answers. That gets on my nerves, and I'm constantly getting cursed out on social media because I told you I'm a native New Yorker. We are straight shooters. We call it exactly how we see it. I don't care if I hurt your feelings or if I ruffle feathers. That's your problem. You got to go off and deal with that. I'm going to go and sleep comfortably tonight, you know. But that's social media for you. Oh, how could he do that? Well, he did it. You know, maybe that's not the thing you would do, but he's not the scum of the earth. You don't know anything about the background of him and those other kids or those other kids' parents or nothing. You don't know anything. So, and I'm in the business of trying to cut people some slack, trying to understand that sometimes people fighting demons we know nothing about. And so we only see the tail end of it or the part that they show us. We don't know what's going on in there, you know, within them. So, yeah.
So I think I learned, they got days on, I think it's Friday nights and like Sunday during the day. If you don't feel safe exchanging the kid with the other parent, you can go to the courthouse and they have time slots available that you can go with the sheriffs or whoever in there and exchange the kids and all that. And when I found out, I think that was a good idea because a lot of people be worried and scared. People be coming to your house and they like not so. I knew somebody that they asked me for a ride and I took them to get their son. They go knock on the door. The mother ain't been together in like 15 years. Knock on the door, go in the house, go to her bedroom. There's another dude in there. And they come out, man, she tried to play me. She supposed to let me know there's another dude in there. He wasn't supposed to go in there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you wasn't going in there. Man, don't tell me what I'm supposed to do. That's my baby mother. Sir, that could have went left 17 different ways.
Exactly.
You could have opened that door if you could have blew your head off. You know what I mean? It could have went left 17 different ways. Like you don't know. Like you got to stay out of that. But like at certain places they have in place, certain things they have in place. And if we don't know, then we won't use them.
Right.
There's a lot of programs out here that'll really help you. But again, if we don't know, we won't use them. Absolutely. Now me, I don't want to go back down there. You know, I don't want to go back down to that courthouse. It's very few people that I've had conversations with that I will help them. I don't want to go back down there. I will help anybody from my experience. I can't tell you what to do. I can only give you my experience because there was nobody there to help me. There was nobody there to help me. So there is a lot of places like that exchanging the kid at the courthouse is a very, very good idea.
Yes.
You got cameras.
Yep.
You got witnesses.
Yep. Exactly.
You got safety. Exactly. And you got a time slot that you have to be there.
Exactly. I love that. Exactly. Yep. They have agencies that do that. People used to do the precinct, but some kids are traumatized by the precinct. So yeah, they have agencies. A lot of places have actual agencies that open just for that, the pickup and the drop offs. But yeah, I love that concept because you know the minimum contact is the key to some co-parenting, you know, going successfully. Keep the contact to the bare minimum between the parents so that there's no room for any kind of, extra conflict that's unnecessary. Yeah. Totally
So,
agree.
I don't want to hold you forever, but I do got like a few more. I got a few more.
Sure.
Last one before we get back to our scripted questions, because I know the train went off the track.
Yes.
What's the difference between coming to you and going to legal aid besides having to, I guess, pay?
So legal aid is they'll actually go to court with you. I don't go to court with anybody anymore because I help people handle their own case. Legal aid, they actually represent you. Now, people don't know about legal aid, though, because and it's free. What people don't know about legal aid is that they only help you to a certain degree. If your case is going longer than it needs to be from their perspective, at some point they're going to dump you. They are, because they're federal, they're publicly funded. They get grants. So they get, and they try to help as many people as they can. So in most cases, if your case it didn't settle and it has to go to trial, legal aid is going to say, sorry, I have to go. I can't do this. I have other cases that I need to tend to. Me, I am helping you at every single step along the way, help you develop the skills, find the information, even down to scripts and language to speak, and what rules and laws apply to your case and what they mean for you. Like, I literally, it's like having me in your back pocket. It's just that I'm not speaking for you in court, but I'm in your back pocket because everything you're saying in court is based off of what we talked about, what I coached you on. Everything you submit to court is basically on what I coached you on. Everything you say with the other party is, again, based on what we talked about, what I taught you, what I revealed to you. Everything, every aspect of your case, I'm actually involved in, and I'm helping you come up with a way to deal with, you name it, everything. And that's the difference, is because, and a lot of lawyers don't have the time to do that. That's why some of my clients do actually have lawyers, because they don't feel comfortable going to court speaking for themselves. And actually, in some cases, they shouldn't go to court speaking for themselves. But some people want me because the lawyers are not going to do that. Lawyers don't handhold. Lawyers don't take the time to explain every single thing that's going on. Lawyers don't even answer your calls or your emails sometimes. So, so when I work with people who have lawyers, they come to me a lot of times asking me to explain certain things to them, or to help them figure out a way to get their case file organized for the lawyer, or things like that. So I'm a strategist. Strategists we actually problem solve. We actually take everything we know or we can find to help you solve whatever problem comes up along the way as your case is in court, in family court.
Do you feel like your prices are affordable?
You know what? Recently, I changed my model, because I used to work with people no matter what their income was or what their resources were. Now I don't. Now I'm working on a course so that the people who can't afford to pay, my lowest service is $1,700. Some people just can't pay that. So what I decided to do is I created a course, and the course is something that people can take for a couple $100. It's $199. They can actually, everything I would possibly teach you with us working with each other, you can get it in the course now. So so that people don't feel like, hey, I can't afford you, but I need you. Well, now you can do the course. And the good thing about the course is, once a month I will do a live Q&A where we go on a group video chat, and I'll answer questions about things that you have about family court in the process. So, but my prices, if you sign up with me for 1 month, work with me for 1 month, is $1,700. I guarantee you're saving at least $10,000 in lawyers' fees. So you do the math. So you don't want to spend that 10, and you have it, you just don't want to spend it. You're going to spend that $1,700 because I'm going to teach you everything. The only difference is, if you decided to rely on the lawyer, the lawyer's going to go into the courtroom and speak for you. You don't have to speak for yourself. But you decided to spend that $1,700 with me. Even if you have a lawyer, you're still going to save at least $10,000 in lawyer's fees, because the things I'm going to teach you in that month, it's going to save you from the need to email and text and call your lawyer 20 times a week, running up those legal fees. So yeah, but I think it's reasonable. I think I should raise my rates, actually, because nobody does what I do. Nobody does what I do. You have divorce coaches out there. You have custody coaches out there. You have all these people out there but they all focus on the emotional. Custody coaches are just people who went through a custody case on their own, and now they think they're an expert and they want to show you what worked. That's not how it works. I actually work with everybody based on your circumstances. I look up your judge to find out who your judge is and how they make decisions. I look up all the lawyers involved in your case to see what their background is and how they what their track record is. I look up everything I could possibly think that we could use as leverage. That's what I'm going to do, and we're going to fit that into what I call a case plan, a case map, a game plan that's actually only relevant to you and your circumstances and your case. Nobody else is going to do that. Nobody else does that. That's why my title is trademark, Family Court Strategist, trademark, because nobody else can claim that but me.
So do you ever had a case that you feel like was too much with you, too much for you, so you had to send it up? You had to recommend them to go up to a higher level, or I guess to a lawyer?
Yes, because some, like those parental alienation cases I was talking about, those get really sad. They get ugly, and they need an expert. They need a psychologist to come in and testify, to meet with the family, and that runs into tens of thousands of dollars. I don't think people should be trying to represent themselves in a parental alienation case. I just don't. And so if they come to me and they're knee deep in a case like that, I tell them, no, I don't want to touch this. I can coach you on the practical side, but you need to have a lawyer. You absolutely need to have a lawyer, and the lawyer needs to have a team. There needs to be a team involved, and that's going to cost them. And so, yeah, I'll be a part of that team, but I'm not working with anybody one-on-one in a situation like that. I just can't. I just don't think it's fair for me to do that.
One lawyer is pretty expensive. You're talking about a team?
Yeah, a team. Some people have a divorce coach, a lawyer. They have a financial expert on board. They have like I said, a psychologist who's what's called an expert witness. So that's a team. That's exactly the kind of team that they would need in a situation like that.
Man, I ain't going back downtown at all. I ain't going back down there at all. Like at all. All right. So somebody going into the field of family court or just being a lawyer, what is some advice that you would give them?
You have to be open-minded. You have to you can't just think one way and that's it. In law school itself, if you don't learn how to be open-minded, if you don't learn how to be a critical thinker, if you don't learn how to think outside the box, you're going to fail. You're not going to go far. You can't, unless you want to be a corporate lawyer where they just sit there and push papers. They get paid a lot, but they don't do anything that challenges them. They just push papers all day. Or you want to take that law degree and go work for a cushy government job. And I'm not knocking you, but me, I didn't go to law school for that. So if you're thinking about a profession in law, you have to be one of those people that's always open, always listening, always paying attention, always on this thirst for information, for knowledge. So if that's not you, then try something else. Do something else.
Yeah. So what's the time wise do you feel like somebody would have to put in to be not an expert but even relevant as a representative in family court?
People who just passed the bar and go into family court, nah, I'm not taking them seriously. If they haven't been in family court for at least 3 years, because family court, there's so much going on. If they haven't been in family court for at least 3 years, they can have a conversation with me, but I'm not listening to them too much, because they need to fully get immersed in all. Family court is corruption, is bias, is money laundering, is trafficking, it's all of that. So if you walking around here, family court is for the best interest of the child, and that's what's going to happen, and you're a lawyer, I'm not taking you seriously. I can't take you seriously, because we know family court is way more than that. It's a zoo. it's a circus. It's a nightmare, and let's call it what it is. So if you're not being in it for at least 3 years, then you're really still green. You're still wet. You're not really talking anything that makes any sense. So go to law school, do the 4 years of law school, come out, work with somebody who's going to show you the ropes, and then go out there and learn on your own. But yeah, 3 to 5 years is pretty solid.
Yeah. So I at first I wanted to be I wanted to be a family counselor because as younger, we went through a lot with our mother, father, the family, custody, my grandmother, um, and I wanted to be a family a therapist. I think that's what it was, proper therapist. Um, but somewhere in life that just changed and shifted. Where I don't know. I don't know where it shifted at, but I went through a lot as a child, and I didn't want nobody to go through that stuff that we had to go through, and that's what I wanted to be, but I didn't go that path. I do a lot of help with the mentorships, stuff like that, but yeah, as far as going to school, I think it's when I went back to school. I went back to school for computers and networking, and for the first 30 days, they were showing me all the buttons on the keyboard, how to cut it on, what to do if you don't have a mouse. I ain't had time for all that shit. I left.
My
I
God.
dipped off. I left.
Oh.
I got to go get some money. I dipped off.
Yeah,
And I think that's where it lost me at, because I
I
knew
can see
that you
that.
got to put that time and that effort into that, because
That's right.
I learned by experience. Let me
Right.
mess up. I learned by hands on. You can't sit here and explain things to me, because my mind will listen and then swoop gone, and I'm thinking
Yes.
about what I'm gonna eat for dinner while
Of
you still
course, I
talking.
get
You
it.
know what I
Yep,
mean? But
I get it.
you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. So that was mine.
Exactly. You do. That's it. You gotta be true with yourself. You have to. You have to. I'm a firm believer. All that, oh, I need to say things a certain way to sound professional, or no, I'm done. This is it. This is who I am. We'll take it or leave it. Yeah. So you have to be true to yourself and to be true to other people, because a lot of people see through the smoke and mirrors. They see through the facade. They see through all of that. So hey, this is it. This is what it is. So I agree.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Like this thing called life. I know there is no rule book on this thing called life. You're going flipping a different page every day, and hopefully this chapter is good for you. And you know what I mean? Hopefully this chapter you're reading don't let you know what's going to fall apart in the next chapter. You know what I
That's
mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
and I don't know who didn't write the rule book on life and who's at fault for not writing the rule book on life and things like that. Because man, I'm telling you, it's been a struggle. It's been
Yeah.
a struggle. It's been a
Yeah.
journey.
But you know what? Every day you wake up is another opportunity to get to do it all over again. And so that's a blessing, because I am not a woe is me. All life is just beat me down. I'm the kind of person who'll say, yeah, it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to. But guess what? I'm alive today. I'm doing it. I'm making moves to make it work out the way I want it to work out. And that's been my philosophy for the last, I don't know how long. And that's what I tell people. That's exactly why people like working with me. Listen, my slogan is your gain, your loss is your gain, because it's a loss. Yeah, but you're going to gain something if you look at it that way. It's all it takes is a decision for you to say, listen, I'm not losing. I'm not letting this beat me down. I'm down for a minute, but I'm going to get right back up. So, and that's it. That's life. You fall down, get back up. There's another chance. You're not dead. It didn't kill you. You're still here. So what's your excuse? Go ahead. Get back on the track. Get back on. Back on that horse. Yeah.
I did go through a dark spot. I think
we all do.
December, not last year, the year before last. Because I've been running SamzSportz since 2015. It took me 7 years for people to really start seeing what I was doing. And then I'm telling you, like, I'm putting up stuff like sports wise, getting 1,000 comments, we getting 200 or 300 views on all those shows. And then this guy reached out and he was like, hey, I like what y'all do. I wanted to work together. So I asked him, what do you do? Or what can you bring to the table? And the way he explained it, we already got somebody to do that. I got somebody that one of my guys he make all our artwork. He does all that. Like and in his sleep, he does great work. He flagged me for child abuse, sexual misconduct, bullying. Day after day, it took everything. We lost everything. Like I was like 60 million. I was reaching like 60 million people, 62 million people. We was getting paid through the stuff. Like we lost the money, the page, everything. And Facebook was like, don't click links. It's not a link. I emailed the dude like, why would you do that? Oh, I just wanted to make sure I had your attention. I got the email thread from him and everything.
Oh my
but
God.
I don't know. And I never pursued it because I was like, I'm gonna sue this dude. I looked up his name. He worked in New York. He a branch off of a big company. Like I did all that research. Like I was red. I was red. I was hot. Somebody was like, "Oh man, just start over." What do you mean just start over? You know how much work that is? Like
exactly.
After 7-8 years of work, and you just do that and then it's so easy to do that. And I just went through for 45 days. I ain't want to do nothing. I ain't want to post nothing. I wasn't doing no more. I was trying to look at different ways to get away from the social media aspect and just do it on my own. It was a lot. It was a lot. I did. But somebody told me I need to find a social media lawyer. And I was
a defamation. That's defamation. You need to find because he defamed you. And when someone defames you like that and it costs you money, you have a stronger chance of actually getting damages. Because some people think defamation is just somebody's just badmouthing you. No, the other part of it is you have to have lost some money, some revenue behind it. And so, yeah, you need to get a defamation lawyer. Yeah.
Let me write this down right now.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, I went through a dark spot.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Terrible. And now we starting over. We had I think our followers was at 25,000 followers. Now I think we had 1,200 right now, something like that. But it's a slow process.
It is, but you're not giving up because that's what sets us apart. The ones who stay determined. I've hit rough spots too. I still forge on. I'm like, I gotta start all over. I'm rebuilding my audience. But you know what? I'm not giving up because Steve Jobs and these people don't give up. They just keep pushing through and that's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, listen.
God willing. God said He'll give you back everything you lost 10 times over.
Exactly.
Everything you lost. Just had a faith. So
that's it. Gotta believe it. That's it. I'm a firm believer. Yep.
All right. So last thing. 5 things that people get wrong about family court.
Ooh, that's easy. Number one, they think it's about fairness. They think, I'm gonna get treated fairly because family court is not about fairness. Number two, they think that the judge is gonna do what's best for the child because of the best interest. Well, the best interest of the child is not what you think it is, my love. It is nothing about what you think it is. It's what the judge thinks it is, and a lot of times it does not coincide with your version of what the best interest of the child is. Number 3, family court is not a one and done thing. You could be in family court until your last child reaches the age of 18. So even though you might be peaceful now and things are resolved now, you can be hauled back in court 5 years later. So I always tell people it never ends. So and always be on guard. I was going to say, I don't want to say on guard, but yes, you have to be on guard. Number 3. Number 4, you don't have to actually spend $50,000 to substantiate or justify you fighting a case. That's so not 2025. You don't have to spend more than $2,000 and still prevail and get exactly the outcome you want in family court. There's so many options out there. So many. It's no excuse. And number 5, stop listening to people on social media telling you that they know the law and this is what happened to their case. Every single case is different. Every single case. If it's one little fact that changes the dynamics of your case, guess what? That can change the overall outcome in your case as well. So those are the 5 things that people always get wrong. And I'm always correcting people about 50 other things that they always get wrong about family court. That's my job. That's my mission.
That's crazy. You would say, don't listen to people on social media. Their information is free. I got to pay you. I can go on TikTok and find 7 lawyers right now.
No, you could go on if you go on any of my social media, I'm always schooling people. That's what people email me sometimes, not because I work with them, just from listening to my podcast or reading my social media posts. I'm putting information out there. I'm spreading the message out there. They're always telling me, Tracey, nobody else would tell me this. No one else would tell me this. And I just got this from you for free, just from reading your posts. That's what I do. So now don't listen to, when I say don't listen to people on social media, I mean in those groups. Oh, everybody's a lawyer on Facebook. Everybody's a doctor. Facebook is giving out all these honorary degrees in all these disciplines, and these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Everybody's professional on Facebook. Everybody know all the answers. And then
once you get 100,000 views, you should get a plaque on the wall, right? 100,000 views. That means you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. I know better. So.
Oh man. All right. So I can't even ask that because you already done said that 17 times. I already asked why come to you, but you already answered that 17 times already.
You're sick of being beat down, cheated, disrespected, unheard, ripped off, you name it. If you're sick of that, come to me. We don't even have to work together for a whole month. Come to me and have a 1-hour strategy session with me. I can assure you, when that session is done, you'll have 5 things about your case that no one ever told you about. That's going to change the way you approach your case from after we speak moving forward. So that's why they should come to me. You can have a lawyer, you can have a mediator, you can be working with whomever you want. Come have one conversation with me. I can assure you, I'll give you 5 different things that you never thought about that's going to change the direction of your case. Guaranteed. If I don't, I'll give you another hour for free.
So what if they come to you and say, hey, I heard you on the SamzSportz podcast?
Okay, let's do it. Let's work. Hey, what do you want? Tell me what you need. Tell me what you listen. I don't
want anything. I just want to send people to get the correct information. You know what I mean? I don't really care about pats on the back and things like that. Just let me know.
I'm big on that. I just met somebody yesterday who wrote a book, and I told her, I'm buying your book and I'm putting it on my social media, and I will mention it in my podcast because we're no man is an island. We need each other. You know, we're out here to do, especially if you're doing good. I saw that you're a football coach. I love any Black man that chooses to spend his time working with kids or anybody in that respect. I commend you because it's not easy. And that's what my son needs right now. It is. So especially because so I'm big on saying, hey, let me shout out such and such, especially when I follow you and I'm tagging you. And I'm big on that. So I have no problem with that. If they come to me and they say, hey, I heard you on the show. Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, he asked me a whole lot of questions that I didn't expect, but he's a good dude.
Sometimes I'm telling you, like I tell you, once that train start rolling, it rolls.
But I love that. I love that.
So how often do you do your podcast?
Right now, since January, I do it bi-monthly. So it's bi-weekly, I mean. I used to do it every week, but right now I'm working on my courses, and it's really time consuming. So maybe until about April, I'll be doing it bi-weekly. And then I'll resume back to doing it every week.
And you do the audio and the video?
No, I haven't started the video yet. That's another thing. That's why I got my little setup ready to go here because I plan to do video as well. I still have to get some. I'm not a perfectionist, but I have to have a system or I'll be all over the place. So right. I have a VA now. I have a podcast VA right now who works on. She does my podcast for me. Who's actually she's preparing to start putting them on video. So I'm going to record myself like this, and then she'll start putting them on YouTube because I want to develop my YouTube channel as well.
So what about Apple Music? Can we find you on
Spotify, Apple Music? There's another one, Spotify, Apple Music, and another one. I don't remember the other one, but yeah, all the major platforms. That's where my podcast is. It's Self-Represented in Family Court is what the podcast is called. So I talk about a different self-represented. Self-represented in family court because I talk to people about what they need to keep in mind if they're representing themselves in family court. I just tell them the dirty truth, the ugly truth about the things that they need to be mindful of. So yeah.
Self-represented in family. That's crazy. I put self and it just popped up all of a sudden by itself. That is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. All right. I just hit it. And the last one 4 hours ago?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You just did one this morning.
Yeah.
So, do you take guests, or are you willing to come on? So we have a network. SamzSportz is a podcast network. We got people in Jersey, Philly, Carolinas, California, Louisiana, Atlanta, Arizona. We got a network of people that we work with directly. So I know 2 people right now is going to reach out to you. One of them is in Jersey. They do an in-studio show. So
okay.
They might be reaching out to you, and the other one might be virtual. But I promise you, I know how they get down. They're gonna be like, "Yo, I need information," and I'm like, "Calm down. This is my interview. It's my interview. Okay, calm down. But that's what we do. We try to help each other.
I love it.
You know what I mean? So if you're willing,
like, see, people like you are like people. Right now, I'm still doing it by myself because I'm trying to establish a message. My podcast is not it serves multifunction, but right now, my primary focus is getting that message. Representing yourself in court is still not something that the lawyers and judges actually encourage. So I'm really trying to spread the message that don't listen to them. You can do this. This is an option. So I talk a lot about the background. So this, when I actually get back to weekly, I have a podcast intake form where people can actually apply to be a guest on the show. And people like you who've gone through the process, like that story you told me about, that's what I want my audience to hear. I want them to hear that. And I want them to hear that even though you say you're never going back, I want them to understand that if you decided to go back, you can do that on your own, feeling empowered, feeling informed based on the information that I put out there. So absolutely. So yes, I'm going to have you as a guest.
You let me know, and
yes.
I am in there. Right?
Yes.
As long as I got no football game, I'm in there. Okay? As long as I got no football game. I can't leave my kids hanging. Even though I want to strengthen. Podcast, and they will not comment. I'm talking to you. They will not comment. They'll call me afterwards. Well, I was listening, and they said comment so she can see it and she can answer your questions. I ain't got to be a third party.
Absolutely. You know what? Though a lot of the topics you brought up, I'm going to get some flack for it because they're going to be like, well, you know, the child support, and a lot of women don't want to hear me say those honest things about relocation. So I'm ready for it. Hey, let's do it. Let's start some crap on social media. I'm ready for it. Told you I'm a New Yorker. Hey, I don't back down. I'm good.
Oh man. Yep, it's probably gonna be the last show. They're gonna cancel us. They are gonna cancel us. They're gonna cancel us. But I've been canceled before. I don't care. You can't stop me.
Yes,
but yes.
Can't stop, won't stop. That's it.
Hey, how about that? All right. So the divorce solutions. Your website, what are they gonna see?
They're going to see information about me. They're going to see how I can help them. They're going to see some testimonials. They're going to see, so much information on my website, way too much. But they're going to be like, oh, I need her. I didn't know I needed her, but I need her. Yeah, that's what they're going to see. Yep.
Okay. Well, I thank you for coming on for the last time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
This has been fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm about to get out of here now.
Okay.
Anything I want this? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Listen, this has been a great. I ain't about to add another 30 minutes on to this.
You can always have me back. I don't have a problem with them. Yeah,
got you. Don't worry about it.
No problem.
I got you. Yep, I definitely got you.